but how much money have you made
in real estate?
Yeah, and if you liquidated it all today.
Yeah.
I mean, I own lots of properties. I sell lots of investment properties, and you're gonna be like, "Well, you need to do your due diligence." Give me a break. This is the first time in 20 years I've been told you can't build on this lot. I said, "No, there's no, you can't anything." Okay, there might be some extra loopholes. There might be some hurdles you have to jump. Okay, cool. Well, it's gonna be 50,000. You just gonna throw a number out there real quick? All right. But then I was good, and we paused the call, and I'm gonna reconvene with the guy that actually runs the show. You can't get on the phone with somebody to push you around. Anyway,
and that's not the only one, because someone called me and goes, "Hey, you need to buy this property in Galveston that you renovated."
Yes.
And I bought it, and I didn't do my due diligence, and here I am fighting this lady for a year because they built the property over the line. Steve's like, "Oh, I don't need a survey. I've been there for 60 years.
Are you kidding me?
Did you tell him not to get a survey?
Never. I've never. Okay, first of all, I wasn't even part of this transaction.
Well, I'll tell you, we had so much drainage issues that
I was not even part of the transaction. Mr. I want to do an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Every day, just like you, Mr. I want to flip. You know how you were. So here's one. It's got two. If you do it, I turned it over. I had nothing to do with the whole transaction.
You found the property?
Through a wholesaler.
Okay.
I said, I'm not interested in it. Ryan's like, tell me about it. You already know how it is. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
There's two places I could do it. Oh, and I would never in my whole entire life say don't do a survey. You know I do. But the problem was...
Have you bought without a survey?
No.
I
bought sight unseen like 100 times.
Sight unseen is fine. Survey is something. And remember, you went to the title company and he had files stacked above his head like it was a meme. Survey is probably somewhere in his stack from years ago. But no, Ryan, you got to get
they're leased though, right? You got them leased.
They're leased. I mean, it's actually yes. I think I'm gonna sell it right now.
Everything worked out, and
because I don't want to deal with. I mean, it's interesting. Is that Galveston?
Yeah.
If you have a nice, clean property. And not the opposite of what I have.
Right.
It's probably good. I mean, it does good. Like, the rent's good.
Yeah.
I refied it. It was fine. But it's just...
I think it's just strategy.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to hold and rent, or do you want to, like, Airbnb short-term rentals?
But the Airbnb thing was... So I bought it as an Airbnb.
Yeah.
I probably could have pulled it off, but it would have been like... Okay, you got to get someone to manage it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to deal with that every single day of your life. You have to talk to someone. And then by the time someone did, who was I talking about this yesterday? It was like, by the time you get done with it, it's just like, I was like, so it was the property, my note on it is like $250 or something like that.
Okay.
I'm getting $3,500 a month. But with my note, they make you carry flood insurance.
Right.
So that's really expensive in Galveston.
Sure.
But yeah, anyway, I'm just going to sell it because I don't want to deal with Galveston. It's also so far down there.
It's far. That's tough. Especially
if it's not new, right?
Yeah, and there's lots of. You still have a lot of repairs.
No, that's been fine.
I mean, I wonder who did the contracting on that.
That's right.
Did you learn anything though?
Yeah, that's the thing. I did. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to talk into the mic.
Did you learn anything?
See, that sounds so much better. Yeah, and that's that was. I mean, when you did your first flip, you were like, "I'm doing this, and if I don't make anything, I'm fine. I just get my money back, and I want to learn something."
I learned a ton, and I did not make money, but. It jump-started a whole bunch of other things afterwards. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. Steve didn't know what he was doing either. No, I'm kidding. He told me, don't do it. Honestly. Yes. Yeah, he told me don't do it. But I needed something to just get my feet wet and to understand how the process works and to go through permitting and deal with subcontractors. And I've never done any of that. And I mean, I made tons of mistakes. I spent more money than I needed to. I tore out all the old wood siding inside the walls. I mean, and the guy, I mean, it's still funny. The inspector comes in. He's like, why didn't you just cut out what you needed? And I was like,
because Steve told me to.
Well, no, because I did not think through that. It's just things like that. I needed to go through that. And it was it revealed a lot, and it taught me a ton. And I ended up losing money, and then we had problems with the seller I sold it to afterwards. But since then, I mean, I've kind of got it all dialed in, and I transitioned from buying single families and renting to building everything I do. And I mean, I couldn't turn back. It's just so much easier. The houses last way longer. I don't have to repair everything every other month. And, now I'm building for other people. So.
All right, well, hang on. Before you take Steve, you're gonna have to really work on this because you not talking.
Okay, did you lose money or did you make like $2,000?
No, so I made $2,000 on the closing, but afterwards, because your flooring contractor, Hassan.
Man,
should I not say? Should not say his name on there?
Yeah, we gotta bleep that out.
We gotta bleep that out.
Did not waterproof the flooring before you put down the wood floors.
Lord help me.
Okay, it rotted out all the subfloor, and I owned it and paid to repair it.
Wait. So say that again.
So,
because I have a client that had this exact same thing happen with might be a similar contractor you're talking about.
2 years later, okay, the owner of Schroeder that I sold calls me up, blowing me up, and I finally pick it up. He's like, listen. He's like, my entire subfloor is rotted out.
Oh, subfloor. Yeah.
Because, like, beams, plywood on top, because the person who installed the wood flooring didn't put a vapor barrier down. And I argued with him. I got him. I mean, like, he spent, way more than I ended up giving him, but I had to come out of pocket to make it whole for him. He was threatening lawsuits or whatever, and I just don't want that trouble. And honestly, he got a bad product in the end of the day, so I kind of just owned my end. But yeah, so I ended up losing money.
All right, so
that's why we work together, though. We always do the right thing.
Yeah, I have to.
So let's tell everybody history. This is Rommy Foteh. Do I say that right all the time?
Foteh, yeah, it's good.
I say I kind of like emphasize the O.
Man, I've heard every
Foteh.
variation of my name.
He's European. He's Italian. Foteh.
Foteh. But Rommy, I met Rommy because when I started real estate, I had just joined Steve's team.
Yeah.
And all Steve would give me for lead generation was leases back in the day. And
it's his MO.
And then the next one was, hey, go into the third ward and help this guy buy some properties. And dude, I mean, by hand far me, I don't know, would Rommy be the same for you? Has bought the most properties?
Maybe. There's one other.
Yeah. But when did you start in investing in real estate?
So I'm gonna tell a little different story.
Was it like 16? Oh, you've been around for a while.
I think it's 16. Is it 16 or 17?
Yeah, because I joined your team when I got in real estate, and that was end of 16. And
so he had just started.
Yeah, because remember I called you because Steve sold my first house for me, right?
Yeah.
And what did we buy? We did Gladstone. Was that the first? No,
Ferdinand. Ferdinand was the first one.
Yes, because and
then a bunch right after. Yeah.
So Steve sold my house for me. I remember like 2013 maybe. And I was like,
I think it was 11. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to buy investment properties. And you're like, okay, yeah. And he was just so nonchalant about it. He's like, yeah, just call me. We'll find some. And I, at the time, was a rookie, didn't know what I was doing. And I just didn't call him. And then like 3 or 4 years later, I picked up the phone and called him. And he's like, all right, I got a house. And I was like, okay, let's go. And he's like, you don't even need to look at it. And I was like, no, I need to look at it.
Brand new investor. Don't even look at it. Just trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So I show up to Ferdinand and bought it 2 weeks later. That was the first one. And then I think we did I just fell in love with it.
We kept going. It was like 20 after that.
Yeah. Yes. So it's just funny how you progress. So I went and walked that one. I was like, I need to see it. What does this mean? I asked Steve a ton of questions. And then I think by the third one, he would call me and be like, I got this house. I'd be like, okay, fine. Right. I don't look, don't drive by. I mean, I have houses today I have yet to see. Never seen them.
All right, so when you...
Every DocuSign he ever gets, he's never read.
I've never
Yes.
No.
So
thank you for your trust, bro.
And this isn't necessarily a advice here on how you should handle
don't do that. Don't do that.
But so when you started, obviously Steve knew what he was doing, whatever, but what was your mindset of like, why were you doing it? And then what gave you the confidence to go, I'm going to keep going and going and going and going?
Yeah, so it's certainly... it takes time to make that first leap to say, I'm going to buy this, never doing it before, not really understanding how it works, not knowing what the return's going to be. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to lose this property? But I think just for anybody who's interested in investing in real estate, you have to take the first jump. You have to just say, whatever happens, it's like gambling a little bit. I mean, if you go to the casino and you put money down, you have to be willing to lose that money. And I think at that point I was like, it's not too expensive. I can manage this. If I do lose it, we can sell it if it doesn't work out. So I made that first jump and said, okay. And I saw kind of how profitable it could be if you scale.
Do you remember the numbers?
Yeah, I know what I paid for the first one, $52,000.
And you rented it for
$950.
Gosh, what is that? What?
It's a
2%.
Yeah, 2% over, which it's hard to do now. I mean,
it's impossible to do. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
thought Michael said it wasn't yesterday. He goes, I do it every day. Michael.
Yeah, he did say that.
He said yesterday.
Yeah.
It's impossible for you too because you underprice your leases
Purposeful.
to just get them rented out quickly.
Steve also doesn't raise the price. on his rentals.
Whenever Steve does his eyes like this, it's like he's frustrated and I'm calling him out.
I'm strategic in everything I do. Now, Ryan, I there's a lot of things that I could learn from you. I don't underprice my leases or my houses. I price them competitively so I get the most attention, and then I have a better selection that I can choose from rather than just taking the one or two people that you have to settle on.
I mean, granted, that's very true. Multiple times I was just like, let's just give it a go with this tenant and hopefully it works out. And I think in 8 years, I probably evicted 2 people.
We've done great.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of leases.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple a month sometimes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm a little bit more of a gambler than Steve is because I want I mean, listen, you got a short timeline here. You want to make the most you can out of it. I care about cash flow. I want to get the most cash flow I can. So I'm trying to lease as high as possible.
Every day you're vacant, you're losing. So it's a dance.
It is
it's a dance.
It's a dance.
Well, crazy enough is that Ferdinand closes today or tomorrow or Monday. But you bought it for 52 and you're selling it for what?
What? I don't know.
It's about 100.
It's over. I think it's like 110.
So you double your money on appreciation.
Yeah.
And then cash flow wise, how many? Wait, that was 2017. We're now 5 years later. 5 times 1 year would have been how much cash flow are you making on that?
$450 a month.
Yeah. So call it $5K a year.
Yeah.
So an extra $25K plus the 50, you made $75K in 5 years.
And a pretty hands-off thing. Right.
And were you floating that in cash or were you?
No, I used a loan. Right.
And you put what, 25% down?
20% down.
Sure.
A lot of my houses I bought cash and then financed later, but it just makes it easier. You can close quicker. But at the beginning, I was doing all straight. Everything was loans. So I just used a commercial loan, like a 20-year AM on a 5-year balloon or a 7-year balloon. But and I was able to refinance them. But now I'm doing a little bit different stuff, so I'm trying to get rid of some of the older properties.
So you did everything you bought with me was cash though. So you had a commercial line.
Yeah,
but
I
draw. From.
No, I did have a commercial line of some, but you can still go get commercial debt on a
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't. I wasn't part of that deal. Everything I did with you was cash, and then whatever you did on the backside, I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, so I would just, there's a bank that I had a relationship with. I would go talk to them. They kind of understood what I was doing. They liked the deals, and they would give me, like I said, they would do it 20-year AM, and I did it on a 5-year note, and I would pay it like a 20-year AM, and then when it ballooned, I'd refi it out.
But for people out there who and I'm going to come back to you because when I asked you a year ago, and I said, "What if you had $100,000 and what would you do with it if you're a first-time investor?" Because to me, this is a perfect point because you can't get $52,000 today, but
right.
But if you let's just say you didn't have any what's 25% of 52? That would have been
like $13,000.
So if you had $13,000, the route you could have gone you had it, even way more than that. But what is you could have got like a hard money lender to buy it in cash, hold it, get it leased out, then go refi it in a commercial loan, and you just have to pull out the 20%, pay off the hard money, and it's a great route to go. It's not going to take you a long time to do. The only problem is 2 closings, right? That's the thing. You got to pay closing fees twice. And if you're in hard money, that's expensive.
Well, it's expensive if you let it go for a long time, right?
So if you can lease it out.
If you can lease it out, or if you're not doing a big remodel, right? I think it's a great route to go. There's plenty of guys that do it.
Well, and that's what hurt me. Yeah. I did a hard money, and I thought it was going to be 3-4 months, and it was like,
Yeah.
ended up being a year. And then by the time I got it leased out and all that other stuff, but
Yeah,
that's
the holding costs will.
yeah.
I mean, they push a property that was a really good deal into something that's maybe doesn't work out.
So you did that for like 3-4 years, and then you transitioned your investment strategy. And what did that become?
Yeah, so I did that
A lot.
Yeah.
You pay my kids got it. We are benefiting from that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, listen,
You're supporting the Adams family and the Kenny family.
I tell you what, these guys are the best at what they do. I wouldn't go with anyone else. So it's comforting to call you guys. You answer whenever I need you. You answer my questions honestly and directly. And you don't fluff my pillow, right? So
Steve answers your question directly?
He does. I mean, honestly, he's sometimes too direct. And I'm like, you didn't have to be so mean. But here's what happened. So Steve's got this house on Gladstone Street. It's a house, and I don't want to say this, but it's got a church next to it. It's a lot with a church on it, an old abandoned church. Just put that out there.
Falling down.
Falling down, yes. Like it was unsalvageable.
And the lot was right beside the church.
Yeah, so you bought the house.
Back in the day, churches used to do something. Did they do anything on this lot by chance? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Cemetery?
No cemetery in this lot.
No cemetery.
Because by the way, I had a client who I sold some land for him, and he had a corner of like it was 1/70th of the lot.
Okay.
What had a cemetery on it.
Ooh.
But like,
did he pay to get it? Like
it was like 100 years old, and you basically have to call the state.
Yeah.
And call I don't know what you call the person who does it.
It comes in like.
And they basically remove it.
Yeah.
And like back then they didn't have like, big caskets and stuff like that. And then they remove it, and then it's like, but it's actually not that expensive. But I had no idea what to do. I was like, because you can't build on that.
Right.
But that's what you had to get permission from the state and all this other stuff. It's possible, but anyway, that's why I was curious when you said right beside the state. Right beside the church.
No cemetery. So Steve couldn't sell his house because the house wasn't finished, but people were living in it. And it came with a lot next door with the church on it. And I bought that. And I remember looking at Steve and said, I'm going to build a duplex on this lot. And I think that was 2018 when we bought that one, roughly. And then I was still kind of purchasing and acquiring single family homes. And then finally I circled around back to this lot. And the church got torn down and taken away. And I found a contractor that I, kind of sourced by driving around because I didn't know, and worked out a deal with him to build my first duplex.
Wait, had you done Schroeder at this point?
Yes.
Which that was this flip, by the way.
That was a flip. Yeah, I did a flip.
But that was a big flip. Like you were basically the GC on that, though, right?
I did the GC on that. It was about time, right? The ability to do it. I did the GC on that. I added a bathroom. I did the foundation. I did the roof. I mean, everything you could do to a home, I did. And like I said, it was a great experience. I'd never done it before. I did end up losing, like I said, a little bit of money, but it kind of jump-started me, invigorated me to want to do more, and that's when I circled directly back to doing that duplex on that lot. I found a contractor, made a deal, and it was like the nightmare, right? I don't know how many people have dealt with contractors, but we had this agreement, and I was really good about reading it and making sure that I understood the terms and what the payment terms were. And this guy couldn't make anything work. And it was always, I need more money, and I need it faster. I need it quicker, and this is not fair, and I can't, and the timeline's extended, and it was just a nightmare. Eventually, though, we got it done, and we leased it, and it's honestly the best return on an investment I've done, other than Fortune, which was, you can't find deals like that.
Right.
But other than that, it's been the best return, most long-standing, lack of repair, tenants consistent property I've ever had. And we're, I think, 4 years into that duplex. And like I said, it's never been unleased for 1 month. I've been able to raise the rent every year. People pay on time. And like I said, I have a note on it now, and it's like, the cash flow is incredible. Thank you, Steve, for convincing me to buy that house, honestly, because nobody would buy it. And I walked by and I was like, fine, dude, I'll buy it. And it's been...
It was literally like that. I had peddled it to many people, and they're like, no, F you, I'm not buying that. And you were like, fine, I'll buy it. You're welcome.
You know, the thing is
Thank
like,
you for your trust.
I didn't tell you what the cost was.
68,000, 62,000.
$62,000 for the house and the
and
lot.
a lot.
In Gladstone side of Sunnyside, which is like the nicest part.
But back in the day, there was like gang fights gang fights in front. And I will fluff your pillow anytime, by the way. Remember they stole your fridge out of the house and took it across the street, but couldn't get it in the house across the street. So they left it in the yard. And we just gave it to them because we didn't want to get inducted into the gang.
Anybody who knows me knows that I stand up for myself, but in this scenario, I was like, just let them
enjoy
have
your enjoy your fridge, fellas.
Woo-hoo, thank you.
So what?
I was just laughing. I remember one of the first times I went over there. There was actually a gang initiation fight in the front yard. I watched these people beating each other up, and as I hold my pepper spray, like I just have to go inside to measure something. No,
you really saw it?
I saw them beating each other up. It was an initiation. It was in good fun with people being decimated. Yeah,
I mean, there's
I think that house was torn down, right?
The house was torn down. Yeah. Those lots are empty. They'd be great lots, but can't find out who owns them. There's a lot that happened on that street specifically.
That was tough. That was a tough era.
But that's where the value was at the time, right? Now the value's increased incredibly. Like you're not making the same deals. There's no $60,000 houses and lots next to each other, but at the time it was like, I mean,
because the minimum lot price now in Sunnyside is what, 75?
75.
Yeah. But what was that house? Oh my gosh, it wasn't Southmore. It was right. It was
Crestmont.
Yes, and I went over. We had sold it.
I sold it. I sold it like a while ago.
Yeah, but I sold it for you. You don't remember.
I know.
But I went.
You sold it to me and then sold it for me.
Yes, but I'm saying I remember going over there after we hadn't sold it yet. We were under contract, and I go over there, and the neighbor's like, "Man, last week someone came through and just did a drive-by shooting right here. You better tell your landlord." I was like, I mean,
no, dude.
I'm like,
wasn't that
what?
guy?
I'm like, the middle-aged white guy driving the King Ranch truck. I'm like, I was like, lock, I'm out.
Yeah, you gotta go.
And then the guy who bought it was like, can you bring the keys to title? I was like, you can have the combo. The keys are in it. I'm not.
Don't go back. I went to that
transferring
house 2 times. That was the first house I bought that I actually did some renovations right when I bought it, and I used that. I think his name was Scott. Was there?
Oh yes. I remember Scott.
Yeah.
Where are you, Scott, these days? Where did Scott go?
Scott ended up walking away with a couple $1,000s of mine. This is like 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He was an interim guy.
Yes. Well,
he took a couple G's of mine and disappeared. I have no idea. He's dead to me.
He's working on this house. I roll up.
Hopefully he's still alive, but handyman wise, he's dead.
Not many people are dead to you though. But
No,
that guy,
Steve, he's got a forgiveful heart.
Yes.
So I go over there just to check to see what they're doing, and they're all in the backyard, and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, there was just a shooting right here.
Oh, dude, that was the one with the RV in the back that they had the 5th bedroom.
Yeah.
Casita. Here it is. Do you remember that RV, dude?
Yeah, I tore it down. Yeah,
Yes.
I do remember.
Yeah, we're like, how much does it cost to tear it out?
That came into it.
We're like, and I remember I actually put on the MLS remarks, bonus casita. Okay, gosh. All right. So anyway, this is not the intro to investing that the route you should go, but you learned a lot of lessons.
I will tell you. I mean, I think that anybody who wants to invest for the long term, it's these things that kind of give you a thicker skin and allows you to kind of weed through the bumps and the bruises and continue on. Because I think if you can get through, the first few years of it, you really get a good sense of what works for you and where your lane is. And but other opportunities open, and you might fork. Like I forked when I said I'm going to start building these duplexes instead of buying single family homes. I tried to fork when I did this flip, and I realized that Steve told me don't flip in Houston, it doesn't work. And then I tried it anyways, and you're right, it wasn't.
Okay, hang on. To that point,
yeah,
I do think flipping works in Houston. I've had multiple opportunities to do it, and I mean, I'm still the $40,000. Do you know about that one? The $40,000 one?
No.
Oh, I went under contract.
Yeah, because I was going to do the remodel for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then a wholesaler came under. I was already under contract.
Do you still have the lien on it?
About to close. Yes, still have the lien on it. So I don't know.
So they'll never be able to sell it.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out. I'm basically just trying to recoup some of what I should have made. But
Right.
but like it is possible. It's just really, really hard.
That was like
Yes, you're right. You can't find it on MLS.
That deal is insane.
Yeah,
right.
But you can't find flips on MLS. We agree with that, right, Steve? Yes. All right. So, and here's a quick question. I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
Because I think this would be a really cool number to know, and
Okay.
even if you took a guess.
Okay.
From the minute you started in investing to where you are now, and you're not even done. You're like, you're just getting started.
This is a lifelong thing for me. I mean, I have a job, I work regularly, but like this is my passion. I mean, I moonlight real estate.
Right.
Okay, so
You moonlight like 900 other things.
well,
too.
it's true, but I mean, like, there's two people I don't ever not answer, and it's the guys I do my construction with, and you two, right? Like that.
Cheers. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right. So it doesn't matter when I've left like very important meetings, walked out and answered the phone for you.
And
guys.
Steve, I actually think the best advice that you've ever given on investing, besides if you're a young investor and you've got $100,000, what would you do? Is it would
Golly.
be to me. It's just like get in the game somehow, because if you get in the game, then you're going to learn, and even if you don't make any money, it's going to help push you forward to continue to do better. But here's my question. This is a big number.
Can we circle back to that? I want to answer.
Yes, I'm going to come back to it. Trust me.
Okay.
So, from the time you started, was that 2016 or 17?
Yeah, I think 16.
Okay, till 2023, and we're 7 years.
Yeah.
Not include it's hard to count this because if you obviously it's a whole lot easier to make money when you've got money.
Right.
But how much money have you made
In real estate.
Yeah, and if you liquidated it all today.
Yeah. Should I say this?
Yes, it's fine. I mean, because it's okay. It's okay to say it.
I probably, if I liquidated it all, I think it's $10 million.
Wow.
Made cash. I've taken every dollar I've made and put it back into real estate. So like, I don't think I've realized a bunch of money to put in my pocket.
Right.
But I mean, if I'm being frank, every dollar I make is just how do I put back into some form of some investment.
Right.
I'm not looking to buy a bunch of stuff for myself. So I just circle it back every time. I've sold some properties. I very rarely have I sold properties, but more recently I've started to, just because I think it just dilutes kind of what my ultimate goal is, and it's not really helping me. It's kind of frustrating to manage all these properties, and I self-manage every one.
Right.
So again, I don't think I've put a ton of money in my pocket, but that's because I take it all and put it back into.
But that's the thing. I mean, like, because a lot of people are like, I mean, you're, dude, in your own job.
Yeah.
You're like selling your company, and
Yeah.
I mean, you're like working 80 hours on that job, and that's the thing. Like, people are just like, there's no way I can make that my money, and you're like doing this on the side,
Right.
And you said 10 million. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's absolute. I mean, I have what I've bought from you guys, and then I have some stuff with my family and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. I bet if I sold it all, it's $10 million.
But the other question is like, so let's just say if you had to take a guess, and you'd have to do an Excel spreadsheet to figure it out. But if you didn't have a ton of cash out there,
Yeah.
and you still put the work you did into it, how much would you think you would have made?
Oh, I think you could turn it 100%. Like, I think I was not aggressive enough. Like, I feel like I missed opportunities. I turned down opportunities. I was a little bit, I mean, when I started buying lots, even, how short-sighted was I? Steve, again, credit to Steve. Steve came to me and said, just buy everyone. He's like, don't look, just buy them all. And I was like, no. I bought this lot for $30,000. I'm not paying $34,000. And then now, we talked about at the beginning of this podcast, $75,000 is the min value you can find in a good area. Right. So I think if I didn't have my other job and I was able to focus on real estate full time, which I'm not. I mean, I'll go in spurts. I'm hyper focused on it. I'm going to find opportunities and I'm going to work at them. And then I'll go for a period of time where like I'm kind of settled with what I have. Maybe I should take a little break. I mean, especially with the construction, it's tough.
But what I'm saying is like if someone's out there and they don't have the cash and the capital and maybe the access to capital like you did,
yeah.
If they did the same route you went, what do you think they would have made?
Easily 3-4 million bucks,
Okay.
easily. Because I mean, listen, the appreciation that we've had in the last 5-6 years has been immense. Debt was cheap, right? So you could get debt pretty easily, especially if you start buying properties and you have equity in them and you can cash out, refi them, or use them as leverage for other loans. I mean, absolutely, you could have done lots of deals. And then Steve and you guys are pretty creative too in finding where you can go and who you can look into. And I mean, the connections I've made into people that will provide dollars for you or avenues for you to invest bigger. I mean, I don't know if this stuff is true, but you watch Instagram and these guys with 700 doors or whatever they say they have. I mean, they did it somehow. There's syndication avenues where you kind of pull a group of people together.
Yeah.
Okay. And you pull people together and buy that way. So absolutely, I think it's super possible. You could have accumulated $3-4 million in real estate. It doesn't take that much to do. I mean,
So what do you think were the, because I also think it's a mindset, skill set, obviously taking action like you did. But for someone like, I mean, because, dude, there's a lot of people who listen to this and go, oh my gosh, I don't have a ton of cash, but you're
Right.
telling me I didn't have to have a ton of cash and I would have made $3-4 million.
yeah.
What do you think were the attributes for yourself that
Well,
allowed you to be able to, let's just say you didn't have the capital access
Okay.
you did to be
Yeah.
able to go make $3-4 million.
Okay, so-
in 6 years.
rule number one, you have to be able to sacrifice the money you do have, right? And say, you know what, this is going to work more for me in this avenue than having it in a bank account or whatever. So that was number one. Number two, you got to take the risk. You got to go. I mean, I've talked to lots of investors, friends of mine who want to get into investing. And the first thing I tell them is, look, I know it's a lot of unknowns. You don't know the result, but if you want to do this, you have to just jump at some point. So number two, you got to be willing to jump and take an opportunity and say, you know what happens, happens. And then you need to be kind of relentless in your pursuit. And, you know, when Steve calls you with an opportunity and you don't have time to go drive that lot or drive that house, you got to take his word for it and just be like, okay, I'm in on this one. I can do this one. But you have to make sure your deals are appropriate too. There's a lot in that, making sure you're getting cash flow back. I talked about this before with you. I won't do a single deal that does not provide some cash back to me, because for somebody who doesn't have access to capital or a lot of cash, you have to recoup somehow. If you're going to do the next one, right, you need some form of cash to come back to you. Otherwise, it's going to take you 10 years and then you've missed your mark, and then the market's done this and you can't get into the next deal. Right. So I think those things are important. Take a risk, jump in, be relentless in your pursuit, trust your advisors. I mean, find people that you really, really rely on. I mean, you guys you steered me through the first 5 years of it. I think now I'm steering Steve a little bit, but.
So Steve, what do you think? Answer that question. And what do you think it takes to mindset wise, like, to do that?
Well, I was going to tell Rommy, you either have to get cash back or you have to have a strategy for that cash and a timeline. So with that one that he built with the church, we didn't quite know the strategy when we bought it. We just knew there was an opportunity there and we figured it out later. But secondarily, you don't just get your agent that just got their license 10 minutes ago to take your investment advice on. They also need to have the skin in the game. Ryan and I both own multiple properties. We've been there. This is what we do with our money. And so to qualify that,
I definitely had a guide, right, and who helped me navigate the beginning of my career, or my pursuit of real estate. You certainly said, no, that stay away from this. Let's do this. Absolutely. I think that was valuable. I mean, I'm not calling some random agent and asking him which way I should go. I know Steve's history. We talked about it multiple times. I know what he did in the Heights back in the day. And he was like, this is the next place. And, I didn't know him that well, but I took his word for it. And that willingness to just jump in and give it a shot. If anybody knows me, I do gamble quite a bit, but
So, and I would say this. Between the three of us, Steve's probably the less risky.
Oh,
would you say that?
Oh, 100%.
Yes. I mean, you and I are probably more risky. Yes. He's the less risky.
Yes.
But he's done well. But I'm gonna say this right now. All three of us, I think here's a common factor, is that all three of us, we all have day jobs.
Yep.
Which we put a lot of work into. We're really good at it. But no one is relying on their right now living expenses on any of real estate investment.
I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. Like, I could have went and bought 5 homes right, and said, you know what, I'm just going to live off these 5 homes and stop my job. But I mean, again, that would have capped my ability to grow. It would have kept me kind of captivated in one market. It would have undiversified my income. So for me, I think you're absolutely right. I think that I've always had this job that pays my bills and makes sure my family's okay. And the real estate has always been, again, for the future. And that's how I've looked at it. I'm not taking any dollars out of it. I keep just putting it back in and seeing how far I can go.
Well, and the great part is, like, if you got, I don't know where you guys are at, but whenever you get to the point where all these properties are cash and there's no loan, I mean, you're on the beach and just getting paychecks from
No, I'm
your
going to be like
tenants.
Elon Musk and tell people to go F off if I need to. So.
All right, one other thing that, and neither Steve or I have done this before, but you did a lot of apartment stuff too.
I did.
How did that work out for you in Houston, and how was it and all that?
So my family, always did real estate as well. And so they never did like single family or duplexes or fourplexes. They always did apartments. And I think for a long time in Houston, that was a great place to put your money. That, you could pay $40,000 a door and you could self-manage it.
Like, how many doors are you buying when you're for most of these apartments? You got like minimum.
I mean, the minimum I bought was 27 units. We've had up to 95 units in one complex. Right now, we've probably got 400 doors. But again, like I said, it was a great game. It's very reasonable. You can make your money. Again, people try to get 1% per $1,000 spent or whatever. You could do that in apartments, no problem, at $35,000 a door, right? It's very easy to do. But as people got hot to the Houston market, and investors from California and outside start paying cash for these deals and driving these prices up, and syndicators come together, like, everybody knows what Lifestyles is. They drive these prices up. And I think when debt was cheap, people could pay the prices they were paying, put a little money into rehabbing the project, refi them out at a low debt rate, get most investors cash back, and kind of run forward, hoping that the interest rates stay at that level, and then you can continue to refi, right? So they drove the price really through the roof. I mean, honestly, I self-manage all these.
I know.
So the family.
That's what I understand. That's why I told you to go read that book.
Yeah. I bought it.
Buy back your time.
I'm actually reading another book called The 48 Laws of Power, which I would recommend to both of you too.
Look, I'm telling you this. I've had 2 or 3 people who I trust wholeheartedly, proven successful. They told me, whatever book you're reading right now, stop reading the book and start reading Buy Back Your Time.
Okay. I have the
yet?
book in hand.
Yeah.
I have the book in hand.
You have started?
Yeah, I'm in chapter 2.
What'd you think so far?
I'm listening.
All right.
Are you listening to it or are you reading it?
Listen.
Oh, okay. All right.
And someone did tell me that good advice was, like, buy the Audible and buy the book and kind of follow it, because he does give a lot of, like, you got to see it, not just listen to it. So.
Yeah, I bought the actual book. Anyway, so what I was saying. So I self-manage all these, right? So it's a lot of time, a lot of effort. The collection from these, and I'm not buying B-class apartments or A-class apartments. They're C-class, maybe C+. So the tenant is a little bit, maybe doesn't have 600 credit score or whatever. And, they're religiously moving from apartment to apartment. Some of them are Section 8, and that the government's paying their rent, which is, honestly, it's a great way to collect rent. But so it's a struggle to collect. It's a struggle to make your bills. Now property taxes are being pushed through the roof in Texas. And I don't know, everybody's watched Yellowstone. The whole thing is people are buying land around and developing, and it's pushing this guy's property tax to the roof, and he can't afford it, right? Well, this is honestly the same thing, right? So people are buying real, apartments at prices that are probably a little unrealistic, but the debt was so cheap, so you could do it. And now it's pushed everybody's property tax up, and insurance in Texas especially too is also through the roof. And so these things make it very hard.
It's up 41%.
Yeah, makes it
on average.
and if you can get somebody to even write you a policy, right? So how many companies have stopped writing in Texas, right?
Most of the big ones have.
Yeah. So it makes it super difficult. We're getting by. I can't tell you that we're crushing. We like them. We own some of them outright. So why would you get rid of them?
I have a lot of.
I'll say one thing though. What I do have, if I did sell, I can't replace anyways, right? You just can't. You can't find it at that price again. You'll never get them back. So
So it's like you don't want to let go of the cash cow in a sense.
Right.
Like
I mean, eventually it'll work out, right? But I'm sweating through.
Is flipping apartments possible? Like you said, Class C. Is it flipping, going from Class C to Class A or Class B? Can you do it where you're at? Because I have a lot of friends that are doing that.
So I have not done that, right? I've always been the guy just buy them and like do as middle as possible,
Right.
On the apartments. But I do know a lot of guys buy C-class apartments. Invest $500,000 to $1 million to kind of bring them up to a B or an A even, kick everybody out, release them. I think for a period of time, absolutely you could do that. I think now with the debt being so high, I don't know how you could buy something for $125,000 a door and then put another $1 million into it.
Is that the minimum?
Oh, I think it's absolutely $100,000 to $125,000. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day who called me about it. He had 50 units in Buda, Texas, and the guy was like, it's like $4.6 million for like 40 units, and I'm just like, I don't know how you make it work. I mean, he was going to try to assume part of his loan, but then had to come to closing with cash, and I was like, I don't know. It's just too difficult. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of personal time management. I'd have a day job, so I would go to work till 5, then drive there and work there 2 hours, and then come home because that's how much work needed to be done. And at this point, I stay away. I'm not looking for them. I'm looking for like lots, land to do some development. I think the development is a way better avenue. I get some instant equity, instant appreciation, and I can capitalize on that, whether I sell it or whether I refinance it. I'm making out better than I am buying somebody else's work and trying to make it profitable.
All right. Two big other parts here because I'm going to get one. Steve, I'm going to give you, this is second chance right here. I mean, this is grace given to you, free of charge. On your last.
Well, let me ask this. When he did his podcast,
yes,
how many people commented on his...
it kind of went a little viral because people were disagreeing with you. So I want you to give you a chance to explain the question that I had, which if you're in your mid 40s, you're in your 50s, 60s, whatever, and you're investing, it's a whole different strategy. But let's just say you're a newbie, you've got, 65, 75, 100,000 in cash, and you're in Houston and you're like, all right, I want to invest in real estate. I want to diversify my portfolio. Where do you start? And you gave a good answer, and I will make sure and re-share this so people heard what you said the first time. But what would you say now? And then I want Rommy, I want you to tell me what you would do based on that.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, so you're saying we have 65,000. First of all, you need another mic. This is shady.
It's the first time I've had 3 people here.
Oh, man. Okay, so there's not 3 people. This is 3 phenomenons.
Mm-hmm.
65,000 to get into real estate.
Let's say 100 grand.
I still don't think that. I'd have to ask. I'd put that question to you. If you got 100 grand in real estate right now, if I had 100 grand in real estate,
no, 100 grand in cash.
That's what I mean. 100 grand to put into real estate. I mean, honestly, with the way the market is right now, I'd buy a lot and sit on it.
Just sit?
Well, sit meaning sit a year, because right now, nobody's buying the lots. They're depressed. You and I were buying lots at 85, 89. I think I bought Alvin at 89,000. You can get these lots for 75 right now. So all you're going to do is pay $1,000 in taxes and pay to mow it a couple times. If you wait a year and the market turns around, then you can permanent build it. But you also have to have a strategy to get financing, right? So that's, because $100,000 isn't much money right now. I don't know what to do. Now you could also hold on.
Can I answer?
Oh
no, you get your turn here.
You could also go buy out a house and put 25 or 50% down. But once again, if you're buying a starter home at 225 or 250, you can answer in a second.
I'm just listening.
And I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. You can put 25 or 50% down. But if you're buying a 250 house and you're leasing it at 1650,
don't work.
Okay, it doesn't work. You're right. let me tell you what I'm doing, which I haven't even told you yet. So, I sold Airport.
Yeah.
And I've got the money that I'm investing with you because Rommy and I are building a house right now, spec house, 50-50. We're about to get started on that. But I had about $70,000 left over. I haven't even told you this. I'm buying mineral rights on an oil well lease in Midland.
It's kind of real estate.
It's real estate.
I'll give them that.
And there's producing wells.
It's out of the box, for sure.
So it's outside of the box, but it's also in real estate. So I didn't believe it. I flew to Dallas to meet with these people in their office because I didn't want to get Madoffed, right? And so I actually went there. And so I'm actually investing in producing oil wells in Midland right now with that little bit of money. I'm putting $50,000 into to test.
I like it. So you gave me the same opportunity. I didn't take it.
Well, I'm just now. I haven't even set the money yet. This will be like in the next week or so. So let's see what happens. 100,000. I want to challenge you because right now it's challenging.
Okay. It's not. It's not that hard though. You had the plan.
All right, carry on.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, 100 grand.
Yeah.
Okay, you buy the lot.
Okay.
75K.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 25K plus you have the 75K, so you got $100,000 in equity. So you can go get a $260,000 construction loan.
Liquidity. They've cut the loans.
No, you can get it.
All right.
You can get it from Stellar Bank, but I can get it from Independent Bank.
Okay. So,
Not just me. And I've referred 3 of your best friends or buddies, Vid and whoever else, to Independent Bank. And they did construction loans for them, and I'd build a duplex on it all day long. It'd be worth $450 when it's done. You can cash out, refi it if you want. You could sell it. You'll make $100 grand if you sell it, $150 grand if you sell it on top of what you put into it, or you can refi it out, get your cash back, and collect rent.
Ryan and Rommy, I'm looking at the camera right now. It looks like Rommy's schooling me. Rommy is finishing his 6th duplex for me right now, and I have 7 more in permitting. Thanks for telling me what I've already been doing with you for the last 2.
Why didn't you suggest that?
Because the liquidity is very difficult right now. If you've got a bank, please let Terrence know. Please let me know.
That's Vid. Call Vid.
But please let me know these contacts so we can get in touch with them. Rommy is right. If you got $100 grand, let's buy a lot. Let's go build a duplex immediately. Thank you.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
All right. So that again. So you get 75K, buy a lot.
Yep. And honestly, I think you can get a lot for a little less than 75K too. So you'd probably do like 60.
Well, Ashwin's was what 63, and it's in a flood zone. I'll qualify. We buy a lot in a flood zone. It doesn't matter because the county's going to make you build it up. It doesn't affect rent either way. So we bought that one. I think it was 63. Call it a day. If you can get financing for a construction loan, call 100%. Rommy today.
Absolutely.
All right. So and then once they buy it, you said it's worth how much? You think? So
you buy a lot, you build a duplex. It's worth at least $450.
Okay, and then you're refining and you're taking out what would be 25% of that. 20%. Most are 25.
You might get a 75% LTV, right? Don't you think? Maybe 80% LTV.
Yeah. So 25%. What's 20%? 100K.
Yeah.
So you're getting 100K back, and you put 75 in.
Yes.
And now what are they renting out for?
$1,700 a unit.
So 35, and then
$1,650 per unit. Ryan needs another mic. So it's about $1,650 per unit. But once again, pulling out the liquidity, they're making you leave the liquidity in now, man. They're
not
getting
that much.
All right, I'm going to go with your bank. But it's Ryan, take over.
But it is
get a third mic.
But they're not making you leave.
Nobody's making me leave anything in.
All right, so let's just say you can pull out that 100.
Yep.
Now you're 2,500 or 25K cash higher.
Yep.
And then how much is that monthly payment for your loan?
It's probably $2,100, $2,200. You got taxes and insurance. Yeah, so you might be $2,400, $2,500 total.
And then you're renting them out for
$3,700, maybe a little bit higher. So let's say $2,100 for your note. Maybe $800 for
maybe $800 cash flow.
Yeah, for your taxes and insurance, and so your first year you're going to get it free, right? Because it's lot value. So you're probably cash flowing $700-800 a month.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'm doing that consistently
So that being said, that was what you'd say today in Houston. That's what you would do.
100%. Everybody's doing it. I mean, you watch Instagram, everybody talks about duplexes in Houston. I don't know why. I think I was a trendsetter, though. I think I did it first in Sunnyside. I don't know. I think I did the first new one. But you drive through this neighborhood, a lot of people are doing it. They're renting like crazy. How long do they stay on the market, Steve?
A couple weeks.
Yeah, max. Put a property on, week later, 2 weeks later, you are both rented.
And then let's just say you didn't want to rent them, you wanted to just sell them. Mm-hmm. There's money, lots of money available for that type of stuff.
I am building 2 duplexes for myself right now, and I get agents stopping by daily.
So there are flips in Houston. There are. Well, it's not a flip, but it's
kind of development. That's what we're doing.
So I told you, I really do think I like the lot thing, but I think it's building the little mini communities, the little mini communities. But no one's done that yet. Let's try that. Can we try that? Because dude, in California when we were there, that's what everyone did, and they were freestanding. They had a garage, and then above the garage, actually, kind of they had a garage, and then that was in the back of the lot, and then they had the living room, kitchen in the front, and then all the bedrooms were upstairs. Which who likes bedroom stairs?
That's what Comal is. That's exactly what it is.
And dude, they were in California. We're buying a lot for $1 million, and we're gonna put 6 on there for $6 million. I mean, they were just crushing it. Let's do it, Steve.
What's the next one?
Gavin Newsom.
You said it was the Heights, then Sunnyside. What's next?
All right, so and then tell us about your company too, real quick, and then we got to wrap it up.
So thankful to Steve again. I mean, I owe a lot to this guy. I was building duplexes for myself. Steve came to me, asked me to build a duplex for him. I was like, yeah, buddy, whatever. Since then, I've kind of turned this into a construction company. It's called Capital Loop Construction. We do every facet of construction. So remodeling, additions, roofing, and also brand new construction ground up. I've done a lot for Steve. I've done some for you. Just a family business, right? So it's just me and my wife and my brother-in-law who are running it. Really just about honesty, straightforward, kind of like what Steve taught me to be when it comes to real estate. Just be direct and be honest. So the price is the price. I'm looking forward to continuing to grow. We've got a lot going on right now, but absolutely, I'm available to everybody and would love to kind of continue doing this as a passion project for me. I love the real estate. It's been super rewarding and continues to kind of serve a bigger purpose for me and keep me invigorated and pushing forward and looking for new opportunities. So,
well, I think the best thing about your little pitch, I don't know how you put it in one sentence, but like you're not the cheapest construction on the because you can get cheap, you can find cheap.
Well, cheap doesn't work, right?
But you also know the styles, the finishes. This will work. This won't work. But you're a good price. You're not overpriced.
Well. Here's the thing. The price is the price.
Right.
So I don't do cost plus loans or cost plus contracts. I'm not looking to charge you 20% over what it cost me. This is what I think I can build it for. This is where I think I can make my margin. You know that this is what you're going to spend. You're not going to spend $1 more. If it goes over, it's on me. And it's happened to me. I mean, we started building Steve's during the lumber price increase. It cost me more than I thought. I never came back to Steve for another $1. I would never do that. I've done that for 3-4 other people. It's worked out for me where I've lost a little bit a couple times, but like I said, I went through the construction process with 2 different contractors, and it was a nightmare. And what I learned from that was I could do this better, and I could do it better for people, and I could just be honest about what I'm going to do, and never vary from that. And so if I tell you the price is X, that's the price I'm going to charge you. And it's not going to, you don't have to worry about it being more than that. It just is what it is. And I'm going to own the risk.
Cool.
Throw the dice.
Steve, you got anything to say about Rommy? How much you love him? How much he's done for you?
I would like for Rommy to plug his newest venture. Rommy is now a barbecue master. And I drove 2 hours.
That's right.
2 hours to his restaurant, and it was freaking incredible. I can't believe how damn good it is.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, so I got a lot of family. My younger brother, Tim Foteh, and my first cousins. So we have some apartments in West Columbia, Texas, and which is a little bit south of Houston. They were
A lot south of Houston. Holy night. An hour. I'm in South Houston. It took a damn hour to get to the restaurant.
So we used to go to this place. It was a barbecue restaurant for many years. Thought it was good, whatever. We visited. One day, the building's up for sale. And they were like, we should totally buy this and do a barbecue restaurant. And so
How much it cost you?
the building cost me, with all the equipment, everything in it, $450,000. We put about $300,000 in it to kind of bring it up to where it's at today. I think it's a beautiful place. Tony and Tim, they kind of designed it, did a wonderful job. It looks really, really good. It's very inviting. Got a new bar. It's one of the few places in town that have a bar.
In the bar.
And it's actually Dry County, so there's no liquor stores in the county, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. So, but they did an incredible job, and we opened September 4th. Been open for a few months. It's been really, really good. Republic Barbecue, West Columbia, Texas. Come check it out. Ask for Tim or Tony. They're there all the time. Or if you want Steve to come, I'll come down there with Steve. Had food. He brought food home for like a week. But yeah, I'm very, very blessed. It's been going really, really well. These guys are loving it. The town loves it. I'm excited to kind of see where it goes from here. So maybe some franchises.
Hey, by the way, 6 or so episodes ago on this podcast, I had Becky and John Lawrence from Nashville, and she's a realtor, crushes it in Nashville.
Okay.
And her business strategy is buying businesses.
Ooh, I like. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
And wait. So get ready for this. I'm going to tell you this real quick. You know what the average real estate investment return is per year?
10%.
Yeah, I think it's 8 or 9 or something like that.
pretty
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Do you know what the average business return is buying businesses?
I can tell you, it's probably 25%.
50%.
No, really?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a super strategy.
So this is why she's doing it, and they're crushing it. They're doing great.
So are they buying the same businesses or
No,
just different
dude,
ones?
you know what they're doing? This is what they're doing, and it's smart. It's like it's your deal. It's basically going to, let's say, a roofing company. They've done a great job, but they've been out there for 40 years, and he's tired, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. And he's like, who am I going to give this to? My son doesn't want to do it. He's in accounting or whatever. And then someone comes along and is like, and what they're doing is owner financing. So they're like, hey, we're going to buy it for X amount of dollars, and you're going to finance
It's genius.
the down payment we're going to put a down payment. You're going to finance the rest till we pay you off. So he's getting a check every year until they pay it off.
This is retirement.
But then they're coming in with the young energy, the marketing that they're not even marketing. Most of these businesses they're buying, they don't even market at all. They come in and then they just quadruple the sales in a year and basically buy them. And then
so are they buying all service businesses?
it's mainly like that stuff. Now that when they started, they were doing I think they've got 5 or 6, 7 now. I can't remember how many it was. But when they started, it was mainly between 1 to 5 million was they're buying for. Now their minimum's 10 because of it does take some work.
So this is what I would do. Okay, if I had the time, right?
Sure.
I would buy the same business over and over again and just do like a roll-up strategy.
Sure.
Okay, so talk about roofing company. You buy a roofing company in a local roofing company. Maybe it does $800,000 in sales a year. I would buy one of those. I'd buy another one of those. I'd buy another one of those. I'd brand them all. I'd do this roll-up strategy into one bigger company, and then I go find private equity and have them come and buy this from me
100%.
and go.
Yep. I think that's what they're thinking too, because he's really the CEO of all these businesses.
Right.
So I think his long-term game is probably build it up, take it here, market it, because we come in, we know how to market.
Right.
We'll come in and market it well, build it up to a new valuation, and then sell it off.
Right, 100%. I think it's great. I mean, the only difference I would do is just stick with the same industry, right? So that you're not split across too many things. So
Yeah. And that is the hard part. But what they found out is that the people that are working in the business, they knew enough about the business to help it grow.
Right.
It really came down to a marketing and refining the systems and the processes and all that stuff.
Well, if you're going any business 40 years, something's working.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
It just needs a little crank, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
But the people they're getting, and here's where you find them. And it's on. I mean, he shared this. It's Craig. It's go to the CPAs, and you go to them and you go, hey, who's just like ready to get out of their business? Wow. And then You
Isn't that amazing?
And you talk to them and you find that out, and then you call them and go,
Hey,
hey.
so if I want a car wash business, I just go to a CPA and be like, who has a car wash that doesn't want
Correct.
to do anymore?
Correct.
I love that idea.
All right, that's enough. We might have reached. Oh my gosh! Look, we're at 59 minutes and 35
How'd you
seconds.
know?
It's right here. It's counting down.
No, but you stopped. You stopped it great.
I did. There we go. Hey, thank you, Rommy, for coming.
Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Steve.
It's been fun,
as
Steve.
always.
Ryan, you guys are the greatest.
I've just been y'all's side piece today.
No,
Happy to be
stop,
here.
stop. You got the microphone in front of you right now.
Bring me that third mic, right? and cigars. Right?
Yes. So my next purchase will be a third mic. I'm sorry.
And
And
cigars.
a ventilation system
Yes,
for your cigar. Thank y'all again, Steve. As always, we'll see y'all next time.
absolutely.